A nation still in mourning following the second worst school shooting in this country's history. This morning, new information on the shooter and a new debate on gun laws. Several families in Reno had to be evacuated from their homes this morning after a fire breaks out in another home. We're going to tell you how much damage and if investigators know what caused the blaze. And power is finally restored in northeast Reno after a woman crashes her car into a power pole, causing a major blackout overnight. We have the details on these stories and much more straight ahead on your Monday, December 17th, 2012.
You're watching News 4 Today in high definition.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to this edition of News 4 Today on your 17th day of December, now a week away from Christmas, and it's going to be a dicey week weather-wise. We've got storms headed our way, heavy winds, some snow, so if you're going to be traveling this week, you're going to want to pay close attention to News 4 and our weather folks as they give you the details on what is ahead of us this week. But it has got some snow in there for sure and some possibility of some icy roads with those lows getting way down there. Jenna has all the details coming up in just a few minutes. But first, much of Reno was left in the dark for about 4 hours overnight after police say a car crashed into a power pole near Hug High School. The power outage affected residents east of Sutro between McCarran and East 4th Street. Police say the crash happened just about 12:30 this morning. The driver was hurt and did have to be taken to the hospital. No word on how serious those injuries are. And police say they are still investigating how the crash happened and whether or not alcohol was a factor. Meanwhile, also overnight, 2 people are displaced after a fire broke out in an upstairs bedroom at their home on Newcastle in Reno. Fire Department Battalion Chief Rick Cajuns told us that the fire broke out just before 2 o'clock this morning. Cajun says that they're fortunate they were able to knock down the fire so quickly because the fire could have spread so easily with the high winds we had overnight. He says the 2 adults living there were able to get out safely, and fire crews were later able to rescue the dog who was inside as well.
Yeah, the guys did a really good job getting in there and stopping the fire. There's 2 adults that were home at the time along with 1 dog. The 2 adults self-evacuated before we arrived, and we were able to rescue the dog under one of the beds.
Cajun says the family will be placed in a temporary home. Meanwhile, the investigators are still trying to figure out exactly what caused the fire. It is now 6:33 on your Monday morning. Well, families devastated by Friday's school massacre in Newtown, Connecticut are beginning to say goodbye this morning. The first of the many funerals will be held later today. Last night, President Obama promised to try and prevent another shooting like this from happening. Danielle Lee is in Newtown, Connecticut this morning with the very latest.
Overwhelming sorrow reverberated from this Newtown high school, packed full with people trying to make sense of the unimaginable.
You keep asking why, and there's no answer. No answer.
This afternoon, families of some of the youngest victims will say goodbye. 6-year-olds Jack Pinto and little Noah Posner will be laid to rest.
It's been an outpouring of love from all over the nation.
Chase, Jesse, James, God has called them all home.
Last night, President Obama joined the grieving and promised their deaths would not be in vain.
We can't tolerate this anymore. These tragedies must end. And to end them, we must change.
He gave us a lot of hope and knowing that there's something that's going to be done.
Police are trying to determine a motive. They say the shooter killed his mother, then broke into Sandy Hook Elementary Friday morning, killing 20 children and 6 women using an assault-style rifle.
It's going to take many, many man-hours, okay, to attempt to draw this picture together, to put this puzzle together.
Without answers, this community waits.
It's just unimaginable, and, you know, it's horrible.
Hearts heavy as many question how to celebrate the Christmas holiday just 1 week away.
Schools here in Newtown remain closed today. Students who did not attend Sandy Hook Elementary will return to school tomorrow. In Newtown, Connecticut, I'm Danielle Lee, NBC News.
And we, of course, will continue to follow this tragedy and have much more coming up for you on the Today Show later this morning. It is now 6:34. Switching gears now. Let's get your weather on the fours with Jen. I mentioned we're going to have a dicey week ahead as folks get ready to do a little bit of Christmas traveling. Hey there, Jen.
Yes, we do. Good morning to you, Bill. Especially this weekend, we do expect a very busy weekend on your roadways as everybody's getting ready to maybe take over the Sierra, head south, north, wherever you are heading for your holiday celebrations. You can see a little bit more snow piling up on your roadways. Now, we've been watching a little bit of light snow throughout the morning in the Sierra this morning. So far, no snow yet down to your valley floors, a little bit of rain overnight. 46 degrees as you're waking up right now at the Reno Tahoe International Airport with your south winds at about 14 miles per hour, gusting at 26 miles per hour. So for Reno, the most effects from the weather we'll feel this morning is going to be in the form of wind, with a wind advisory in effect until about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Strongest wind this morning, still windy this afternoon, but not quite as bad as this morning. 37 now at South Lake Tahoe, 36 at Truckee, and we are watching most of the precipitation in the Sierra getting shadowed out pretty nicely in the valley with a little bit of rain and snow as we're looking south of Reno through Washoe Valley and Carson City, but overall pretty dry at Reno with, again, most of that precipitation around the lake, including the Sierra Crest with heavier rain on the west slopes of the Sierra. 20-mile-per-hour wind speeds around 2 a.m., 18 miles per hour around 4 a.m., and temperatures yesterday 5 degrees above the average, 4 to 5 for your daytime highs and overnight lows. Now tonight we are expecting to get about 0 to 2 inches of snow. Most of that snow above 5,000 feet could pick up about 1 inch of snow down to your valley floor. So wind speeds to about 70 miles per hour this afternoon. Will keep the rain in your forecast today, and definitely prepare for that snow overnight tonight and tomorrow morning for your morning commute on Tuesday. Bill?
All right, thank you very much for that, Jen. Let's check in on, speaking of commutes, let's check on ours this morning. Some wet roads in some parts of the area. We got Chuck Allen on the phone. Good morning to you, Trooper Chuck.
Well, good morning, Bill. And despite all the blustery-like weather out there this morning, we are currently crash and incident-free on all area highways. And the only concerns for motorists this morning are the upper elevation road controls posted on just about every single highway, Bill. Interstate 80 over Donner, there's a 28-mile stretch where chains are required except for four-wheel drive vehicles. And most of the upper elevation highways in our state, to include the Mount Rose Highway, State Route 207, and so forth here in western Nevada. And the big issue this morning, especially for the truck drivers, is the wind alert in the Washoe Valley area. Big rigs, trailers, RVs are prohibited. And the best alternate route for those folks will probably be to take Interstate 80 out to Fernley if you're leaving from Reno, down to Silver Springs, and then westbound into Carson to eliminate that trek over the Geiger Grade area. So that's a quick look at traffic this morning, Bill. I'll go ahead and send it back to you at the desk.
All righty, Chuck, appreciate it. Thank you. Well, downtown Reno was mobbed with thousands of Santas for the annual Santa Pub Crawl this weekend. Business owners we spoke with say the Santa Pub Crawl is their biggest moneymaker all year long. Event organizers say they expected about 3,000 more crawlers than last year. Law enforcement officers were definitely prepared. 3 sergeants and 24 officers were on duty in just the crawl corridors alone. Event organizers and law enforcement officers, in the end, the heavy security is just to make sure everybody stays safe while having a good time.
It's very good for the city. So we really are looking for everyone to be safe and everyone to have fun and love being downtown and really love the city of Reno and want to come back.
Yeah, a lot of folks will come back, of course, but it wasn't a jolly night for everybody. One of the biggest concerns during the crawl, underage drinking. In 2011, 18 bars were caught serving alcohol to minors, and this year, police sent minors into 55 bars. 7 of those were given tickets for furnishing alcohol to a minor. Those bars include Pizza Reno, 5 Star, Studio on 4th, the Cal Neva Casino, El Cortez, and the Circus. Studio on 4th was cited a second time after the doorman allowed a minor into the bar. And we also spoke to a few bartenders to find out how they prepared for the busy night and how they try to avoid serving to minors. They say it's all about keeping your ears and eyes open.
Just trying to be as cautious as we can and not have underage people drinking and no one leaving the bar with open containers, just sort of simple stuff. But simple when there's that many people out is not simple at all.
It's important to note a portion of the proceeds from the Santa Pub Crawl Cup sales goes to a charity benefiting local schools. Alrighty, we ended the week on kind of a down note on Friday. Let's find out how the market is shaping up so far this morning. A big week ahead. Of course, talks continue over the so-called fiscal cliff. John Sanchez is on the phone. Good morning, John.
Good Monday morning to you, Bill. Thanks so much. It was relatively quiet in the pre-market session. Not a bad start here. Now that the opening bell is rung, we're up 42 points on the Dow at 13,178. So pretty much wiped out Friday's loss, which was a 36-point decline on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Nasdaq sitting with a gain of 15 points, Bill, about 0.5%, and the S&P 500 trading higher by 6 points. Well, they got the deal done. Clearwire and Sprint Nextel. Sprint Nextel announced this morning they're going to purchase approximately 48% of Clearwire that they already don't own for $2.97 a share. Right now we are seeing Sprint trading on the upside by 0.72%, about a 4-cent gain to $5.59. Clearwire, however, down 12%, a 40-cent loss to $2.96. Citigroup has downgraded Apple shares from a buy rating down to a neutral, saying the recent cut in iPhone orders brings demand into question. We're seeing Apple slightly higher by $2.54 to $512.18. Speaking of Apple, Walmart announcing that they are going to cut prices on Apple products for the holiday season. That includes the third-generation iPad and the iPhone. And right now we are seeing Walmart trading on the upside by 45 cents, a 0.65% gain to 69.20. Bill, the Dow's at 43, the Nasdaq gaining 14. The S&P, it is higher by 6. I'll send it back to you in the studio. Have a great Monday.
All righty, thank you so much for that, John. Well, the gun control debate is heating up following Friday's deadly shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. We are going to hear from both sides on the issue.
And here's a look at your flight delays across the region. A little bit of a slowdown this morning at San Francisco. We'll be right back.